They basically said that because she was drinking so much, it was starting to affect her headspace and her brain. So I think they said it was alcohol-induced dementia. I want the family to become the guardian.
And you guys are ready to take care of her?
100%. As long as she has people around who are yes people, the same thing is always going to occur where she would ultimately just find any excuse to be by herself so she can get back to drinking.
They basically said that because she was drinking so much it was starting to affect her headspace and her brain, so I think they said it was alcohol-induced dementia. I want the family to become the guard and you guys are ready to take care of her 100% as long as she has people around who are yes people. The same thing is always going to occur where she would ultimately just find any excuse to be by herself so she can get back to the drinker. Y'all, it looks like Wendy Williams' health struggles just took an abrupt turn for the worst, cause now her son Kevin Jr. is out here crying about losing all of the resources now that his mom is permanently incapacitated. According to latest reports, Wendy can't walk, talk, or even think clearly now that she's battling dementia. They say that she is all but a shell of what she once was, and the reason that they are spilling all these details right now is all because of that nasty Lifetime documentary that aired in early 2024 called Where is Wendy Williams. Ever since her show got cancelled, people have sort of been sniffing around for details about what's going on with her, but let me tell y'all something, many of y'all believe that documentary should have never seen the light of day. Some of the issues that are being presented in this documentary have been there before, but it just really sped up over the last 2 years or so and just mushroomed into something that felt uncontrollable. She definitely cognitively has some things that are off. Oscars, yeah, this weekend. What's Oscars? Well, the award show. Would you want to go to award show and walk the red carpet? Yeah, oh, you would. Okay, Wendy Williams has really become the Wendy Williams show, and it's so hard to see her struggling to live her life and do some of the simple things that she do enjoy so effortlessly. While it did show us that Wendy's health is legitimately on the decline, what that documentary also told us is that Wendy doesn't have anyone in her corner looking out for her best interest. Her own manager was still talking about how she was good and ready to go and have her own podcast when she is clearly struggling. These people need to stop looking at Wendy like a stack of cash and see her as a declining human being who needs all of the care that she can get right now. I really want to believe that Kevin Hunter Jr. misses mom, cause you know Wendy loves her son, no question, and without her all he's left with is an aggressive broke man of a dad who doesn't even know about looking after someone other than himself or being the active parent that Kevin needs him to be. But at the same time, some people don't really believe Kevin Jr. because Wendy was out here funding his entire life. Although he is technically a grown man, Wendy was paid amply $85,000 for her documentary, and Lifetime can keep yapping on and on about Wendy giving them consent, but let's keep it a buck, she ain't ever going to give a story like that for just $85,000. What do you mean Wendy let these guys film her, get all of these deets, make millions off of her name just for 85 grand? That's something she can make while she sleeps on repeats of the Wendy Williams show. Like, come on, let's be for real. And then there's this whole thing with her legal guardian Sabrina Morrissey, and while everyone was dragging Sabrina for controlling Wendy, this legal guardian just filed a lawsuit basically saying the same thing, even though Lifetime credited Wendy as an executive producer of the documentary. Morrissey is basically saying that the project took advantage of Wendy. She was diagnosed with early onset dementia and aphasia and didn't have the capacity to consent being filmed. Lifetime was aware of this. Everyone around her knew what was up, and if you want to play devil's advocate here and say they didn't know or they weren't told, all you have to do is watch the documentary for a few minutes and see that Wendy is very vulnerable. All the documentary did was exploit her for their financial gain. After Wendy was diagnosed, Sabrina believed that the project would be halted immediately since Wendy didn't sign any contract and wasn't in the right headspace to focus on her career or start up any podcast. So everyone from Wendy's publicist to her manager, even her own son, sat down for this documentary, and many believed that they all had a hand in ruthlessly profiting off of her one last time documentary. Last night, I just feel like some things are better left unsaid or unshown, and I don't know if it's to expose what's happening around her, the people around her, and what they're doing to her. If it's for that, I guess I can understand, but I have to be honest, it made me so uncomfortable I have to turn it off. Like I can't finish watching it. I know part 2 comes out today, but I just feel like there is no reason that we needed to see her in this condition. Like with her eyes, her health, the alcohol, every single person that is currently in her life does not have her best interest at heart, and this is so sad to say, but it's like when you're on top of the world, the last thing you think is that you need to get your affairs in order. That's the last thing you think, cause you don't think the people around you are plotting against you. Wendy herself signed the rights over in 2022 to this Lifetime documentary. That same year, Wells Fargo took over saying she was an incapacitated person. You tell me, how can she sign a legal document allowing cameras in your house the same year you're considered an incapacitated person? You have to be Compass MST to send out to sign a legal document like that. Guardians are already suing. This is horrendous and should be taken off the air when this Whole legal guardian thing began. Folks thought that it was going to turn out like the toxic conservatorship that they had Britney Spears under. We don't know a lot about the legal guardianship, so we ain't going to jump the gun and sing praises to her, but from the outside, based on report courts, she seems to be doing a decent job of trying to protect Wendy's interests with this lawsuit. But again, we don't really know what a person's real motives are, so only time will tell. Wendy's family ain't convinced though, and they believe that she should be in their care, but there's still a risk of her family blowing off everything that she has left her son lives or live a lavish lifestyle on his mama's dime. And while Wendy loves her son and wants him to have the best in life, he doesn't seem to be the type of guy to know anything about ing assets or maintaining the legacy that his mom has built. Now Kevin Jr. has been defending himself from all of the claims that he's been blowing through his mom's wealth, and he said that everything that he has spent was with his mom's consent, and she has never been a cheap person. I've never taken it with the Aaron. I've always spoken to her, and she's always wanted me to spend her money. I've got so much money, I want it from my son. I want to give some love to my son Kevin. It's me and you, kid, and we get that, but sometimes there comes a time that you exercise discretion and common sense. Just because your mama ain't cheap, has all this money, and tells you to go out and luxuriate, doesn't mean that you should go and live like the money ain't going to ever run out, especially now that she can no longer work. Kevin isn't equipped to handle all of this yet, and his broke, trifling, parasitic leech of a cheating father ain't going to be much help either, and people aren't too happy about the situation Wendy's in now. Quote, nobody deserves this. This diagnosis is pretty much the end for Wendy. The diseases are up there with Alzheimer. Memory fades fast. The present is pure confusion, and the future offers a sad way to die. End quote. And another quote, this is truly heartbreaking to hear. Wendy Williams has always been a larger-than-life personality, and it's sad to see her facing such challenges. End quote. Also quote, I really did not like that Wendy Williams documentary, and it was beyond exploitative and very saddening. Like she's still Wendy, but just the mirror of the vessel she used to be. I hope and pray she gets well. End quote. But do you guys think that her legal guardian was right to file that lawsuit and her son should have full access to her wealth? Share your thoughts in the comments. Be sure you like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, babes.